Hello, it's Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video. I'm so excited today because I'm part of a junk journal hop, and this is being hosted by Meg at Meg Journals, as every year she runs a challenge called Junk Journal July, and she also runs one called Junk Journal January. But so for July, there's lots of us here on YouTube are going to be getting involved and sharing a quick video with some of our tips for getting started in a junk journal. And there'll be links down below to all of the participants and also Meg's Instagram feed where she releases the prompts for Junk Journal July, and also a link to Dropbox in case you're not on Instagram and want to download them. And we just really encourage you to have a look at those prompts, use them to get started in your junk journals, have a bit of fun and share them. We can't wait to see what you get up to. So if you are new to my channel, one of the things I always try and do in my junk journals is create lots of space for writing. So I'm definitely going to be doing that on my pages today. Because I want to keep the video quick, I probably won't add any writing, but I always like to make sure that there's plenty of space for it. And one of my first tips is, if you've used different coloured papers in your junk journal, is to look for some supplies that are going to tie in with those, and that can really help to keep you focused and make sure your pages are cohesive. So I've selected some washi tapes that I can see the colours predominantly will tie in nicely with the patterned papers, and also a neutral one as well. And I've got some kind of greeny blue watercolour paint, some green distress oxide inks, some other patterned papers and more neutral colours. So I just want to start getting something down on my pages so that they're really inviting and I know I've got somewhere to write on. So the first thing I'm going to do is very quickly mix up some of this paint, and I want to add something to this. This is from a cardie pad and it's watercolour paper, really textured, and I want to perhaps pick up the shape of some of these leaves and paint that across the top here so that this page ties in nicely with this one. So all I've done here is I ended up mixing two different colours of paint together to get the green that I'm looking for. I'm just going to do something really simple. I don't want it to be too difficult or take me a long time. I just want something that's going to be a little hint of the right page coming over onto the left. And I wanted to start with this so that hopefully it's more or less dried by the time I've added everything else onto my page. And I'm using a size 4 watercolour brush from Skoda. And the paints that I'm using are Kuretake Gansai Tambi. It's quite a mouthful, but I always leave the links to the products I've used in the description box down below, certainly wherever I can find them. And watercolour's one of my favourite mediums to use in my junk journal or any of my journals. I find it really nice and playful. It can be quite unpredictable at times, the effects that you're going to have, but I really like that about it. And doing a little bit of watercolour on a piece of paper like this also takes the pressure off, because worst case, if I'm really unhappy with it, I can just throw it away or try and correct it at a later date. It's not something that's already in my journal, so I'm not going to be ruining a page. I can just decide once it's done whether it's something I want to include. So I'd love to know if you're already into junk journaling, or if it's something you've looked at a few times and are sort of trying to get your head around. I did release a flip through not that long ago of my last completed junk journal, so hopefully there's kind of lots of ideas in there to get you started. And also I've looked at the list of people taking part in this junk journal hop, and there's some amazing people in there, so definitely have a look through the list below. See if there's anybody there that you don't already follow, because sometimes just one person showing something slightly different or creating something in a different way, I think can be a real light bulb moment. I follow lots of people on YouTube, and quite often I'll just sit there, even while just having my lunch, and just play through 1 or 2 videos, and it can just be enough to spark off something completely new and different in me that I either want to have a go at, or it makes me just think that will spark something slightly different from what they've done, but perhaps the colours that they used, or one particular item it might remind me that I've got in my stash and to hook out and play with. So definitely have a look through those lists of YouTubers, and they'll all be linked down below for the journal hop. And I'm really hoping throughout July I'm going to have time to follow along as well with Meg's challenge. So you'll just be able to use the hashtag JunkJournalJuly, and even if you don't have time to take part, just follow that hashtag if you're on Instagram, because there'll be so much inspiration from loads of people taking part, so not just the people that are releasing videos for this. Okay, so that's my watercolour leaves all done, and I'm just going to check that fits. Yep, that's fine. So I'm going to pop that to one side now to dry while I get on with the rest of my spread. So the next thing I'm going to do is add some stenciling to my left hand page. And I think with spreads like this, if you've used lots of different papers, having something kind of big and blank almost like this can be quite intimidating. And with something like this, it can be hard to decide where to add writing and what to do with it. So I think it's always good if you can just add some clear writing spots or a bit of extra decoration, so that it feels quite inviting when you get to that page and you want to then either write on it or glue in bits of packaging that you have, stick in happy mail, include your photos, anything like that really. And usually I just kind of journal as I go, though at the weekends sometimes I do set up a few pages in advance. So if I know that I've got some really busy days or evenings coming up and that I won't have time to really add any decorative elements, but I will want somewhere to write about the things that have been going on, then at the weekend, say I might just take a few moments to add in some, it could be stickers, washi tape, stenciling, anything that I fancy. And the Distress Oxide I'm using for this is Bundled Sage, and I'm then using an ink blending tool to press the ink through the stencil onto my page. And this stencil is called Bubbles by Donna Downey. I bought it on Amazon actually years ago, but if it's still available, again I'll definitely leave that linked down below. So I'm not using loads of ink because I don't want it to be too distracting. I just want an extra bit of pattern on that page. So there we go, that's that bit done. And I wanted, so I've got some green there to tie into this page, but I also wanted something on here that would tie into the colours of the left-hand page. And I found this, my mum gave me loads of these floral images, and I thought that would tie in beautifully. So I'm just going to cut around some of this and then probably layer something behind it for writing, but I'm going to cut this out first. Okay, so I've cut that one out, and I think another thing I'm going to do is add a strip of this washi tape. I think this is a really old Tim Holtz one. I've had it many years. I just thought again it would give a hint of that colour from the opposite page. And that's definitely one of my tips, is look what's already there when you open your junk journal, look what's on those backgrounds, and use that to help guide you. So I've got that there, and I also want there to be some writing space. So before I glue this down, I think I'm going to tear up, this is some coffee dyed paper. that I did a few weeks back. And I'm going to use this to create my writing space on the background. So I've now torn out the size of paper that I want, and I'm going to glue that down behind here so that I've got some lovely writing space. So I think I'm going to put it there. I'm just going to pencil around the corner, and then to glue it down I'm going to use Pritt Stick. And these coffee dyed papers are great. It was just regular printer paper. And I think it just gives such an interesting look to the background, but is also really easy to write on top of. So I've got that one. I'm gonna put this one on top. When I'm doing anything in my journals, I really try not to overthink it, because it is only a journal page at the end of the day, and as long as it tells your story, whether that's something you write on it or something new that you've tried out, like you've perhaps tried a different colour palette or tried a different technique, I think that all becomes a really lovely and important part of your story. Okay, I'm now going to come onto the left-hand page. This has dried nicely. And I think, so that I don't just have one block of space there, I might use something from here. This is a receipt pad, and I think it'd be quite nice to tear it down and create again, so I have perhaps two different writing spots there. I really enjoy having rough edges, so most of the papers I use are torn unless I'm cutting around an image. So I think I might glue those two together. So then I might write on this one day and on this the next, or perhaps put a photo down. So again, I'm just going to mark a corner. And I don't like to do too much in advance, because I tend to keep my journals more or less in date order, and I just never quite know what's going to come through the door. Might there be some really lovely happy mail or an envelope, or might there be some food packaging that I want to include? So for me, I always like to kind of journal as I go wherever possible, or at least leave space for the unexpected. Okay. So I'm really happy with that. I feel that green helps tie it across to this page, and also the green on the background. I think I might add one other piece of decoration. I've got these transparent flower stickers from London Gifties, and I really love these. All the different colours, just gives you a huge choice of things that you can go for. I think for this, because I want to tie it in a little bit more with that green on the right hand side, I'm going to use these leaf stickers. So then I'm just going to peel one of these off. And just pop that along there. And then maybe just a little bit more washi tape as well. I'm going to tear this one along the middle this way. Put this down the side there and then put that there to show that that's going to be another writing spot. So I really hope you've enjoyed that. It's just a really quick and easy way of putting together some different elements and matching up the colours on your junk journal pages. So don't forget to check out the details in the description box down below of all of the other participants who are taking part in this junk journal hop. Well, thank you ever so much for watching, and as always, a huge thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. If you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I hope you're doing really well, and I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.